Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from a music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Mortification Monday, that series where I talk about Australian Jesus metal band Mortification. And today we're going to look at their 11th studio album. Came out in 2004, and I'm referencing this one here called Brain Cleaner. Now, it's a little. Sorry for the glare. Trying to get that where you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to show you the vinyl version here as well. Notice there's a little bit of a difference here. You might not be able to see the face that well. Here, you see the boy here with a smile kind of on his face, whereas this one is more like a surprise kind of a thing. And I think this actually kind of goes a little bit better. This was the reissue that came out in 2021 on Soundmass Records. Uh, and so now the model used for this was Steve Rowe's son Leighton, and I think the idea was originally it when you look at the covers, and I'll just put this one up just because it's easier to see. Um, it kind of gives a almost like a Harry Potter kind of vibe when you look at this because he's reading books and you're seeing all this like swirling stuff around here. Well, obviously you can tell if you can't really see it that well, but there's a cross here on the book, and so you can tell he's reading the Bible. And so the idea here is that the Holy Spirit is coming out and entering into his brain, cleaning out his brain of evil and sin and things of that nature was basically what the title track is about. So, what who we have in the band now? So there we got Steve Rowe with a absolute killer soul stash, if I don't say so myself. Um, we have Mick Jelinek. This is his first official album playing guitar. We have Mick Forsberg on drums. And by this point, Adam Zafrisi leaves the band, and they recruit, he was able to recruit Mick here, um, or Mike rather. Um, he was playing in bands like Cyber Grind. He would eventually go on to front a band called Martyrs Shrine. So that's what he currently is doing now. Um, Now Mick Jelinek, he was doing his own thing for a while called Terraphobia. He has there's about four albums prior to coming out with Brain Cleaner that are pretty hard to come by. I've seen copies on Discogs, and it's going to cost me quite a little bit of money to get it across the pond to me here. But I still would love to hear them. He would release a couple of albums since then. One called Evolution, and then he would also do an album called Terrification, which was the more ears, basically songs he would write and record for. Um, so Brain Cleaner, 2004. What we got here? So the lead off track here is a song called Boa Constrictor, which it starts off with a very slowed down spoken word part to kind of give this really almost demonic kind of vibe to it. But also, I guess you could also interpret it a lot of different ways. But basically, this is a very galloping thrasher, really just about just about how sin just wraps itself into our lives like a boa constrictor. If you've ever gotten around a boa constrictor, it likes to just wrap around your body or or an animal or something like that and just squeezes the life out of you. And that's really what that's what kind of sin does to us in our lives. It gets its fingers in deep, and it gets its arms around you and just wants to squeeze all the life out of you. But it just the song encourages the listener here again to embrace the power of God and to free yourself from all of that guilt. Not saying it's easy. Please don't misunderstand me. That is not an easy task. Take it from someone who has struggled with a lot of different things in his life. And I still have to rely on God to get me through everything. Um, Still very, very strong opener. Too much pain. This is another blast beat kind of banger here. Basically gospel truth. Uh, is really about the best way I can really put it. And basic gospel truth in the cross of the pain that Christ felt that he took for all of us as the ultimate sacrifice. Um, just an absolute crazy stomping song. Absolutely love this song. Purest Intent, this would be a co-write with Mick. This is a basically kind of a spiritual screw you to the record labels and things of that nature. Um, I think a lot of labels were trying to really get Steve to um, water down the gospel message, and Steve wouldn't do that. And I think he really would just be labeled and just be, kind of knocked out for a lot of different reasons. But he stayed true to his message and his goal and his what he feels God was telling him to do. This has all kinds of crazy spots, a good slow groovy grinder at times. You get some what I think is a crazy trigger bass drum pattern where somebody's just running on those drum patterns are like crazy. But I think just another great song. Has some Pantera-like grooves going on here too. That leads into Free as a Bird, which starts off as a bass instrumental, which then is just the rest of the band joins in for a quick instrumental. Brain Cleaner, as I mentioned earlier, spiritual renewal and purification through faith. This basically kind of has a garage rocker kind of a flavor. Uh, Kind of Steve trying to sing, but it's got this really deep, almost, that with his deep Australian accent to throw into there. So that works out pretty cool. I'm Not Your Commodity. Another Mick co-write. Steve Rowe is very much anti-exploitation of artists. He was definitely against things like Napster. He's not very big on, um, I think, how people were like just sending files, sending, file trading and things like that. Probably didn't even like the early days of YouTube when people would just throw songs on YouTube and he's not making anything from it. Not that most of us YouTubers do. I certainly don't make anything from what I do, but I love talking about a band that I love. Um, but he was very much, support the artist, buy the album or CD or cassette, 8-track if you got to. If it supports the artist, buy it. And that's really what this song was about. Again, putting Jesus first and the business as a distant second. You got a good thrashy opening, good guttural vocals here. The flu virus, this is very prophetic in my opinion. Where's our faith when we come to when we're sick? I think we could have asked this question 5 years ago with the pandemic, but I don't want to get into that. So, this is another good stomper. Great solo section, almost has a Maiden-like feel. Um, Living Like a Zombie. This is another Mick co-write. This song talks about being spiritually drained, emotionally drained, when you're on the road and you're playing gigs at these clubs, and they don't start you until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And there's people there that literally just like The Walking Dead. I mean, and you're trying to spread the message of Jesus Christ to basically a bar full of people who are probably just half asleep and they're just there from drinking all night long or something. Um, has a bit of a Slayer-like feel in the solo section. It has a little bit of a nod to Distarnished Priest. Nice surprise melodic solo to end out the song. It's a good track. 12 Men. This is a re-record of an old Light Force song. Still a fun rocker to listen to. Louder Than the Devil. Another crazy banger here about spiritual warfare, which then ends off with a song called ED. Evil Death, and it's just one of those fun little quick songs with goofy little things thrown in there. But it's basically just Evil Death, just over and over, and you get a false ending because on the CD you get this long break, and then you hear this like bomb blast go off, and then it just kind of fades out, and that's the CD. So yeah, done in 2004. Um, this was recorded at the Hammer of God studio in Melbourne. Again, produced and engineered by Mark McCormick, who had been doing a lot of stuff with the band. It was recorded in November and December of 2003. Um, the front cover artwork was Troy Dunmeyer, who had been doing a lot of the different album covers for him. As I said, Leighton Rowe at age 7 is actually his was how old he was at the time. He was the front cover portrait model. Um, just a really strong album. It's musically, it's a very great, it's a really good album. I love all the different stuff it goes. You don't have some of the like almost repeating moments that you had with on Relentless. But this is still a really good album. Again, I just have to reference Steve's look here. He's growing his hair back, and he's just got that great soul stash going on. So uh, at this point, he seems to be still doing well health wise. He, at this point, he's still struggling with being a kind of a paraplegic at some point because of the cancer and the spinal cancer, which there's just a lot of stuff he was dealing with for that. So, but yeah, this is a really good album to check out. This begins the Mick Jelinek era officially, and I highly suggest this one. So Mortification fans, for you guys watching this, what do you guys think about Brain Cleaner? Have you even gotten up to this point? Maybe you're still stuck in the early albums. Who knows? But I hope you've enjoyed this series. Keep sharing, and subscribing. Keep giving me comments and feedback, whatever you can with this album. Next week we'll be back with another episode, and we'll talk more on Mortification then. So, John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad. Rock forever, y'all. We'll see you soon. Take care.